Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. As you know, this is the number one place to discover the people, the ideas, and strategies helping everyday individuals turn their passion into purpose and turn that purpose into prosperity. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga. And if you've maybe ever felt stuck in a career that maybe looks successful on the outside, but doesn't quite light you up on the inside, I think today's episode is the one for you, because our guest today just proves that maybe sometimes your biggest breakthrough, it all begins with a leap of faith into the unknown. And I already know you are going to want to share this episode with someone who's maybe putting their dreams on hold. But make sure you are subscribed to the Online Prosperity Show so that you do not miss out on any of these episodes that could actually change the way you see your future. Now, today, I'm really excited about this guest. And as you will realize, when we met and connected, it just, felt right that I bring her to the show. Now, Neeti, welcome to the show.
Hi, Prosper. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm a little bit scared, Neeti, because I'm actually in front of a celebrity chef here, So, every time I come across somebody who's that famous, I'm a little bit shaky when I'm doing the show.
You should not be shaky. You will be full flavorsome.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, as I said, this is Neeti Saronja. She's a celebrity chef, a founder of FoodWithATwist, and also winner of the ZTV Diaries across 18 countries. She's a community leader herself, a wellness advocate, and a woman who actually transformed a lifelong passion into an award-winning business. But here's what really fascinates me the most. You might see that Neeti is wearing a chef's jacket there, but she didn't start her journey in a commercial kitchen. She's actually spent more than 15 years helping organizations navigate change before she actually became the one who was navigating the biggest change in her own life. So today we're going to be uncovering the decisions, the doubts, the sacrifices, the lessons, and maybe moments of courage that actually transformed a passionate home cook into one of Melbourne's most recognized catering and wellness entrepreneurs. And if you've maybe started wondering to yourself whether it's too late to reinvent yourself, like I said, this is a conversation that you exactly were waiting for. So let's just dive in. Now, Neeti, congratulations on all your accolades and everything that you have accomplished so far. But before Food with a Twist, before television, before you signing autographs and being famous, before the awards, who was Neeti and what was the dream when you were growing up?
So there was like this little girl from a small town back in Rajasthan in Kota. So there was like in my whole family, we all love cooking, because our food is our first love, you can say it like that way. And I come from a hospitality family because, as you say, Rajasthan is a cultural and heritage place where people are connected to food so much. And also from my ground level, from the traditional cooking, I have seen my father cooking, right? And I have seen my mom seeing a ZTV show where a celebrity chef, Sanjeev Kapoor, who always cooked these delicious dishes. And I grew up seeing that show, and I always feel like, maybe one day I will do something different, right? So I was like, I still remember I was 7 years old and my mom prepared a beautiful Shahi Paneer and I have to present it beautifully to my father. So what I did, a 7 years old, take a knife and she cut it the tomato in a beautiful rose. And my mother was telling me the other day the same story, and that's where it reminds me. And what I did is I just served the Shahi Paneer on a beautiful platter, and then I put that rose at the center. And that brings a different personality of a boring Shahi Paneer into a flavorful presentation. And that's where I realized that the food is not just about flavors and eating, it's much more deep inside it. Yeah. And since then, I started doing some experiments, doing this and that, but that's only for my own happiness, or my family's one. But yeah, and then I came here and this all happened, the celebrity chef thing, because yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking us through that. I can only imagine the 7-year-old, cutting that nice little tomato into a rose and things like that. So you said the inspiration was from TV plus your family also, just created those, moments that allowed you to flourish like that. But was there an expectation for you to excel academically, not just in the kitchen?
Absolutely, yes. So when you do a show, right, they just take you like for the ZTV. It's a well-renowned platform. Yeah. So in back in India, it's a bigger one. It's like an international television. Yeah, where the chef diary is being shot as like a commercial episodes for those ones. But they take raw chefs and compete them with the professionals in the kitchen.
Mm.
So you compete against professional chef while being raw because what they are judging on is just purely on the flavors and what you can bring on the table, which is outside the box. So in this TV show, they give you 30 minutes and then they give you a black box. When the squash up, right, you see all the ingredients, right? Before that, you have no clue what you're cooking, right? For me, I was more scared of how I will look on television more than what I will be cooking. But but yes, after finishing the show, because I was just living my dream,
Mm.
because I have seen that ZTV show back in my olden days when I was a younger. I grew up, and I always feel that one day I will be on this channel and doing these things. That was more bigger thing than winning that trophy. But eventually, I got a winner of the show, the Singaporean chef who flied all the way from Singapore to Australia. They had recognized me and they feel that I made something which is out of the box. That was my first dish, and I've utilized the whole timing. Yeah, and after that, the journey has actually begin, because then I feel there is a potential in myself. So why not I go in a culinary school, take some proper education, because in my education I did MBA. Yeah. So, and I did my master's in HR and marketing, and I did my company secretary, and I did my bachelor of psychology and administration. It's all about the business part, right? But what
Mm.
I don't have is a chef kind of a degree and a cooking or a culinary skills, which I gained here in Australia. Yeah. So I got into the culinary school. I got my professional, you know, culinary school degree. One is my degree, and another is the certifications which you need to run a kitchen. Yeah.
Absolutely, and congratulations on that. So, what did you do with these HR
Mhm.
degrees and MBAs? Did you
Mhm.
just do them and then not utilize them, or you went on a bit of a journey with them?
Yes. So, while I was doing all these flavorful things in my home, I was actually working as an HR. Yeah, whole of this time. I have worked in 21 different companies, including Deakin Universities, Melbourne Fire Brigade. I work for the Department of Land, Water and Planning. I work for RMIT. I have also worked on one of the projects, which is at the Westgate Bridge as well with EPA Victoria, which is Environmental Protection Authorities. I have worked with the Defense Forces as well. In HR, I have worked with Make and Food as their HR business partner. And my last job was with Darabin City Council as the change manager as in HR. So yeah, I worked all of this, but I left behind everything to just follow my passion about food. But as just to answer your question about the MBA, so what MBA has given me is the future, or to look at a funnel of how a business can sustain, because that's what I have learned in my MBA degree or in my bachelor's as well. So yeah, and I believe every education is very important, yeah, and never get wasted.
Absolutely. Now, while you were on maternity leave, your life kind of changed, all throughout this time. What was happening internally that during that season made you start questioning whether you were truly living your purpose?
Yeah, so what happened there is just like, when I was on my maternity leave, I have celebrated like this chef diaries. But because when I was on maternity leave, it's in my personality that I can't sit idle, right? I want to do something, right? I was on maternity, I was giving a birth, that's fine. But I want to do something which is very important for my identity. Yeah, that I'm doing something out of it, right? Becoming a mom is a different story because that is something God has created for you. God has planned for you, right? But having something in your hands and wasting the time, it's in your hands, right? So I thought while I'm on maternity, this amazing episode of Chef Diaries came in. I was like, let's try it because when I serve the food, people praise me, and I want to just check it that if they are saying true or it is just for the free food which I'm serving. So, yeah, just to test my boundaries, I participated in that journey. And I believe as a woman as well, we have to make sure that while we are on our maternity, we will be using every single bit of time to make our own identity as well.
Absolutely. And you know, I really love that your journey started off when you were 7, and how did you feel now actually being there and winning this particular
Mhm.
event, knowing this was a lifelong dream?
It's a very different feeling prospect, like and sometimes there are some feelings which is beyond your happiness, which you can't even write it on a piece of paper. Every time I feel that writing it on a piece of paper is nothing because that dream was being dreamed by 7 years old, and after spending nearly more than 25 years, don't judge my age for sorry for that, but
I
after
was about
25
to
years.
ask.
So, yeah, after that you feel that you did something, you achieved something. Yeah, and I'm really proud to say that the food with a twist is not being recognized as by the chef diaries and all those things, but now we have like a big clientele as well. We have just served on last Thursday to Mercedes Benz.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
So that was like a big dream come true, which I never ever expected, which I never dreamed about. So that is something which is truly, unimaginable. So the thing which has started, as Chef Diaries as well, which I never imagined. And then what also happens in between the Chef Diaries and Food with a Twist, I was being a blogger. So I
Right.
started as a blogging. So I started blogging, and while I was blogging, I came across one of the Woolworths person who actually, follow my blogs. She said that why don't you write some recipes in Woolworths magazine? So back in 2019 in 20s, I was writing some recipes for Woolworths magazine. I have also written some recipes and also did a launch with Tarnet Central for their cookbook as well. So it's kind like, like a chef writing books, author. Yeah, so I did those ones. And then in the lockdown, I also feel that there is a need for the community because the community needs something in those lockdown or the COVID period, right? So we
Mm.
have this fun activity going where I took an initiative on Food with a Twist blogging page to announce a cooking competitions. And it was so much fun that people come online. Okay, they have sent us like the applications and all. We have selected around 3 to 4 people who will be cooking along whatever is in their pantry, and we have given them 30 minutes to cook and present it, and they are being judged just on the presentation because we can't taste the food. So and it was so much fun that you won't believe, Prosperous, that day I have 70 people who were seeing it
I know. That's
on our
beautiful.
webinar. So that gives me an insight of like what community needs. So after that successful event, we did another one as well for the community because I believe food is something everywhere, every community get connected to.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually even getting hungry just looking at your website now. So you can. All right. But what was harder, Neeti? I mean, obviously, competing on
Mhm.
TV was a lifelong dream for you, and you did mention that you were more worried about how you would look like on TV, not worried about what you were gonna cook. What was really the hardest thing, being on that TV show or leaving a stable career that you had already built for 15 years?
It's really scary, because it's unknown. You know, you don't know if you will succeed or not succeed. But I have learned one thing in my life, especially from my father. If you believe on something, you do your 110%, and rest everything comes in place. You don't need to worry about what's going to happen. All you need to worry about your 110%, how you can give your 110%. If you're giving your 110%, without any doubt, the success will come to you.
Unless maybe you're giving blood, right? Because then if you're donating blood, you can't give 110% on that. But
No.
I understand what you're saying, and obviously, as part of your journey, we did obviously already allude to the fact that during your maternity leave and while everything was happening, your daughter was only 4 months old while everything else was happening. How did this experience sort of teach you about motherhood, ambition, and maybe sacrifice?
Sure, I will share you a small story behind it. Okay,
Yes,
Prosper?
yes.
I still remember she was actually 3.5 months old when I did this shooting. Yeah.
Mm.
And my husband was there. I don't have any family apart from my husband and a small family. So he was there and she's a breastfeeding child,
Wow.
right? We are about to shoot in like 10-15 minutes, and I asked the producer that if we can feed her and all that so that we don't have any disruptions, and they said yeah, 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 go for it. And I just feed my baby, and then I was burping her, and while burping I was wearing that apron, and she actually puked on the apron,
Oh
and
no.
that was the only single apron I have. So that day, and I got very cautious because I'm going on an international television, right? And I tried to remove everything and all that. The director came to me and she said, and she's a female as well. She said, like, don't worry, nobody going to judge you on your apron. We are going to judge you on your food, your presentation. So calm down. Don't worry about it. That's where it's given me another strength, another encouragement that it doesn't matter. There are people out there in the world as well who can support you. And I did very calmly, very composedly everything. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, that is beautiful. Because so many people, we worry about certain things and we think people are there, they're going to judge us, they're going to maybe ridicule us or laugh at us, but they're only looking at the results of what we're creating. And if we create something remarkable, and especially in your case, if you create flavorful food, it will actually create that which people would then talk about, not necessarily because if anything, you're wearing an apron because it is going to get dirty anyway with the food and grease and things of that nature. That is so beautiful. And I think that actually gave you courage because you often also speak about courage yourself. What is it that a lot of people misunderstand about courage, especially when it comes to real life? Because that alone, knowing that your daughter is there and you've just been given that go ahead from the judge, that gives you a lot of courage to compete with all those other people that don't have anything like you have there.
Yeah, but
Mm.
I believe courage is not about having a sword in your hand and killing people.
Yes.
Yeah, or go for a fight. Courage is believing on something. Especially as a woman, when I have a 3.5 months daughter, I had the courage to have a faith on my partner
Mm.
that he will take care of my daughter while I will be shooting this. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Yep,
Because
yep.
that is somewhere, especially women get scared how the things will happen if we are not around. How, how they will take the food from the kitchen to eat it if we are not around. How these dishes will go in the dishwasher if we are not around. But
Mm.
what you need to trust is your family, your friends. Because if you won't trust them, they can't do anything for you.
And
I
I,
understand there are people who have the negativity, but all you have and why you have to trust as well, because while you are trusting on them, you are actually trusting yourself as well. You know why? Because you have chosen them. They are not being created. You have chosen them. So not trusting them is not trusting yourself.
and your choices and your decisions and you moving forward because that then speaks to the identity that somebody has. If somebody identifies as the person that has to be doing everything for everyone. See, you went from HR professional to chef to entrepreneur, community leader, wellness advocate, founder, and now, you're dealing with all these companies. We're going to go to what you're doing now currently, but it's all these things that somebody would have been, oh, I'm only HR, I can't be seen in a kitchen and things of that nature. What would you say to somebody who feels trapped to just the identity that they have built because they maybe afraid society, their family, or people will think different if they do something else that is not what is prescribed?
If you believe, if you strongly believe that you can do justice for a profile, go for it. Like, for example, when I started my journey for food, I trusted on my flavors, on myself, right? When I have started my not for profit organization, I have trusted that yes, I can give back something to the community. Yeah. But whenever I'm doing that, I'm making a promise to myself as well that I will also look after the other things, but I will believe on what I'm doing and I will give my 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, walk us through Food with a Twist. What happens there, and who do you serve?
So, with Food with a Twist, we serve it's for everybody who is hungry.
That's me already.
Yeah, but if I will finalize it, we serve to corporate. We
Mm-hmm.
also serve to private events. So in corporate, especially when you have like the bigger events like mergers, grand openings, you have a Christmas party, Diwali party, or kind of any kind of event where you are celebrating with your team, we are more than welcome to do it. You can also order some grazing boxes from us as well. With private events, we do baby showers, milestone birthday parties, we also do weddings. We do pre-weddings as well, like those small ceremonies you have. Baptism as well. We do those ones as well. So pretty much like everything. But what we need if you are looking for food which is not only delicious but also give a twist to your eyes and make you feel hungry, then we guys are your place.
Absolutely. I once went to visit a client and they asked me, "Are you staying for lunch?" And I said, "Oh, do you guys have lunch?" And they said, "No, we've got a company that comes here and provides us with, lunch every Tuesday and Thursday." Is that something that you also have been organizing, or is that something that you're capable of doing for corporates and businesses?
Yes, we do bento boxes. So in bento boxes, we do have different flavors in bento boxes where it has like, some kind of starters, some kind of mains, and, some bits and pieces according to the dietary requirement which company has provided us. And sometimes we also customize the menu for them. Since we guys are the catering services, so we make sure it's a budget friendly. We also make sure that it's time appropriate. So if you're ordering for lunch, it has to be appropriate for lunch. If you're ordering for a high tea, it has to be appropriate for high tea. And we also believe in no food wastage for having the sustainability.
Absolutely. And what sort of cuisines do you put together for people that are looking to connect with you?
We do have Australian flavors. We do have Indian flavors. We do have Asian flavors. And we also do the Middle Eastern flavors as well. So, and we mostly we do all the flavors, right? But we make sure that the twist is there. And when I say twist, it has to be the Indian twist in it because
Mm.
the spices and the things which get flavorful from there is a lot of spices which I believe people feel that it's only a Indian spices, but they actually connected to the other countries as well, right? For
Mm.
example, if I tell you in Australia with the indigenous community as well, there are a lot of slave spices which are being used in the Indian cuisine and also in Australian cuisines. For example, like a bay leaves.
Yes,
So
Bailey.
we use dry bay leaves, and in Australia, people use fresh bay leaves. There is another flavor which I can tell you. It's about the black pepper and white pepper, which is
Mm.
being used in Indian spices as well, and as well as in Italian as well.
Right, right.
There is a cross cultivations of everything. It's just a person who will be knowing it and I try. I remember you have asked me how I will make sure that how I keep on learning and things like that. So
Yes.
what I do is I always make sure that my learning is always there. I will be keep reading a lot of cookbooks. I read a lot of different cuisines and how I can incorporate those flavors in my cooking or in my style of cooking, using my Indian spices to make sure that we are bringing the traditional flavor but with a modern twist.
Absolutely. And if people are looking to maybe have a look at your menu or your grazing boxes, where can they go to on the internet to find your
So it's on our website, which is called foodwithatwist.com.au. It's
absolutely. I'll
on
make
our
sure.
website, but you can also search us on Facebook with the name of Food with a Twist. You can also search us on Instagram with Food with a Twist. You can also search us on TikTok. You can also Google us as well.
I'll make sure that all the links are in the show notes so that people can actually get started on there. Now, Niti, I actually don't think you run a catering business. From what you have told me, what you run is a courage business. Courage to choose, courage to be, and courage to show others. You just so happen to serve that courage in a grazing box, and maybe some people just chew on it and taste the twist, but it takes a lot for somebody to leave what they have always known to venture into the unknown. So thank you so much for pioneering that. What has been the biggest highlight so far? I heard you talk about Mercedes Benz with your company, Food with a Twist.
Yes, so we have did so many things with the corporate. We did serve recently to Mercedes-Benz. We are also the proud vendors for St. Vincent. We are also the proud vendors from Windham City Council. We have served nearly 150 gathering on the mixer event. We also did for the Spark Innovation Hub sometimes. We also do it for First Australia, which is another a youth organization in Windham. We also do for property expos. We also did a grand launch of couple of brokers. We also did a grand merger in between a financial company over there. Yeah, so there is a list of corporate people which we have already served, and we are also looking for serving more people so that we can bring more happiness. The reason is also there because all my team, when you say courage, right, and behind the scenes, all my team is a woman based organization, and I'm really proud to say when we left 20, 40 kgs, 50 kgs in our hands and walked past by, we are not less than a man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I've got a question for you, Niti. In all the food presentations that you present, are you still decorating it with a tomato that's shaped in a rose? Because I think that is your signature.
Yes, that's something which has been done as 7 years old. But yes, I have grown bigger and better as well. Yeah. And the rose has been flourished now as a beautiful lotus.
All
I
right.
can say it this way because at that moment I was just decorating something which my mom made, right, from purely from her heart. But now I make it as well. But I also make sure that when you're seeing it, you want to eat it, right? So that paneer, shahi paneer, now I serve it as a canopy. So
Oh,
from that big dish, I made
yes.
it into this
Interesting.
small canopy. So that is, my answer from a rose to a lotus.
Absolutely. And obviously, I think now your daughter is a little bit older, she's running around and things of that nature. If we were to meet her in 20 years from now, what do you hope she'll say about the life that you've chosen, Neeti?
I feel that they will be very proud of me because I still remember, I'll tell you another story, and I feel really proud moment as a mom. She was being taught last year how to Google, and the first thing she Googled is food with a twist. And
Oh,
she like I still have that goosebumps when I think about that. And she showed it to all her classmates, all her teachers that look, this is what my mom do, and this is what she is, and this is what she do. And this is something which nothing can buy in this world, you know, that happiness, that moment that your child is feeling that you did something different. So what happened after that is also very funny. They have created their own brand. So
Oh,
now my kids started a chocolate stalls in some events. So they sell these, you know, those strawberry dipped chocolates. You see it, yeah.
yes.
And yeah, so we have like a beautiful chocolate fountain. So they do it and they sell it, and you know, they prepare for it and all that. And the other day they were asking me, Mama, it's like, you know, the school holidays are coming. When are we having our stall? And can you please print out some business cards for us? I was like, yeah, let's do it. So they have their own company name, Choco Delicious.
Absolutely. That is music to my ears. And just listening to your story there, Neeti, I just think your success is in it's not because you won a cooking competition or you're obviously a celebrity chef. I think your success just happened because long before you became a chef, you had spent 15 years helping people navigate change. You were doing that for Durban City Council and things of that nature. And now you're just simply helping people experience that change through the food that you're making, and you're also helping your kids along the journey with it. And obviously the medium changed, but the mission didn't. You just helping people connect with themselves, and I really appreciate the work that you're doing today. And I don't know, is there anything else that's in the future now that that you're working on that we can now be excited about? That
I recently have my article released on the Australian Nutrition Foundation.
wow.
So, yeah, and it's like 4 days ago, they have published it on LinkedIn and everywhere on the social media, saying, like, you know, sharing my story and how we growed up. You know, we do, and we are going to start some workshops as well, so that people will learn that what's beyond flavors, you know, and how you can build up. There is another event coming up as well where I will be telling people and helping people how you can grow in hospitality and what are the things you should be thinking of before entering into the hospitality, and what are the mistakes which over the journey I also burned my hand. And I believe nothing is being successful without a road which doesn't have any speed breakers, you
Mm.
know. And yeah, so everything looks flashy, nice at the top, but nobody knows that how much hurdles we have crossed on. So, and I believe I want to be enlightened to people if they want to showcase and if they want to talk and listen, you know, yeah, they can come to me. We can have a sessions with them. Yeah, so I'm going in the pathway of having some workshops with people.
Absolutely. Now, Niti, I can't thank you enough for the time that we spent on the call today. I mean, your life story and your experience have so much value for a lot of people. Some people have already maybe given up, on their passions. But I think just listening to this, you have just given them that courage that they're longing for. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Prosper. Thank you for inviting us and giving us this opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. What an incredible conversation. I think today wasn't just about food. I mean, if there was food, maybe it was there on the website there, but I think it was totally a story of courage, a story of reinvention, and a story about what happens when maybe you stop asking for permission. So many of us are waiting for somebody to give us an opportunity, but half of the time you can give that to yourself. And the moment you start trusting yourself to take that first step, as Neeti has said, everything will change. So I hope Neeti's journey also reminds you that success isn't about maybe choosing responsibility of a passion, because so many of us are also just waiting for something, doing something just because it pays, or just because society expects you to be in a role that maybe you're not even passionate about. It's success is about finding how you can honor both of that. So if today's conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to share this episode with somebody who's maybe sitting on a dream or delaying a decision or just waiting for that perfect moment to begin. Let them see what Neeti has done for herself, even with an apron, that was dirty from her daughter. She still went on and won the competition, because as you've heard today, perfect moments rarely arrive. You need to create them yourself. So I'll put all the links in the show notes there so that you can connect with Neeti. And if you're in the area, why don't you order one of the grazing boxes, and hopefully, you can treat your staff, your friends with all the and make sure that your workshops and your grazing tables, your canapes and wellness initiatives are well catered for. I don't know what you're going to do with this information, but until next time, bye for now.